President Biden wants to nominate some more people for these judicial jobs. And because she's not there, the Democrats, who have an 11-10 majority in the Judiciary Committee of the United States Senate, can't do their job. So all of the judicial nominations that are on hold throughout the country, mind you, just for those that know, the United States Fifth Circuit position in Louisiana is open. There's a judgeship that's open in the Western District. There are 2 in the Western District, I believe, that are open, and 1 in the Eastern District. So this is something, if Senator Feinstein would either resign or come back, and doesn't look like she's coming back anytime soon, President Biden could move his judicial nominees. And, it's really kind of started to bother me that our own party, the Democratic Party, when the Republicans were in, they were running those judicial nominees through. And as many problems as we've had from the federal court system, we absolutely need to have these vacancies filled while we still had a majority. And so, Dianne Feinstein needs to go and resign, go home.
Well, let's be respectful of our elders.
She need to go.
Let's just say
home.
I'm gonna give you one name, 3 letters. RGB.
Yeah.
We don't need to have another RGB situation.
We don't.
Where you sit there.
That's right.
Sit in the seat until you die.
Right. And then we can't do nothing about it.
Right. And then next thing you know, the White House has changed.
Right.
The pendulum has swung.
Or the Senate has swung.
Senate has swung, and you don't have it. We should know that. And, Senator Feinstein is a great senator from California. And, members who serve all they have to do is serve. I think senators only have to serve 1 term to get their pension and benefits.
Correct.
Forever. And so it's not about the money or the benefits. So I just,
it's hubris,
be
man.
stuck in your own way, and let's see the bigger picture, because we need to move on some of these judicial appointments, and that would be unfortunate.
Correct.
If President Biden doesn't get any of those, he does not have a 50-50 Senate anymore.
Right.
And so the benefit of Brother Warnock winning,
that's right,
was that he wouldn't have to run into this situation.
Correct.
And so the fact that he doesn't have to do that, but he is having to do that. Come on, Senator Feinstein. Let's be realistic. Let's do the right thing.
It's time. And thank God that Justice Breyer did the right thing, so we could appoint Ketanji Brown Jackson. And I think this is one of those situations where, as an elected official, you need to look yourself in the face and say, hey, is it about me or is it about the work? Right. Because it should always be about the work. She's the mission. Or the
team.
Hey, man, Senator Feinstein has done some outstanding work as a United States Senator. Clearly.
Gold Key Committee.
But it's time.
Gold Watch. Golden Watch Committee.
Yeah, it's time for her to make that move. It's time for her to make that move, and for her not to, it's just she's being she's being more of an effective obstructionist than Mitch McConnell was as it relates to Merrick Garland and things of President Obama. Yeah, and that we can't ever have that on our side. Yep. What you got?
I wanted to talk about, and we probably can put it in a session.
Okay.
A segment, but I want to talk about, kind of staying along that same lines was, old boy Clarence Thomas accepting all these high-end trips and buying his house.
Well, let me give you some news about that I read today, and then we'll come back on the other side and talk about that from a session. So I saw today that Senator Dick Durbin, who is the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, has asked Chief Justice Roberts to come to the Senate and testify about the Supreme Court ethics or lack thereof, particularly as it relates to issues with Justice Clarence Thomas and some other judges that have had some misdealings. So, the Republicans love to call people to committee meetings until it's time to deal with one of theirs. So let's take a real quick break, Brother Johnny, and when we come back, we're gonna get deeper into this whole Justice Clarence Thomas thing. And then we also going to talk about what's going on in McCurtain County, Oklahoma. I saw some news about that too. So this is Issues That Matter. This is WKSH 97.7. We play what we want to play and say what we want to say. Stick with us.
WKSH 97.7. The Heat. Back to the real music.
Brett Steve?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll bring you see the story to you.
Okay.
Issues That Matter. with Calvin Lester and Stephen Jackson on WKSH 97.7 The Heat.
And we are back. We are here in the radio station with you. We thank you for listening to us. Just a little slow jams here on your Friday Junior. Hope you are enjoying this Thursday, or better affectionately known as Friday Junior. Brother Calvin, when we was leaving, we was talking about some issues that was going on with either Brother Clarence, or do you want to go to McCurtain County?
Let's go to McCurtain County. Let's go to McCurtain County. Right. Yeehaw. So you may know in the news. Hey man. Hey. So there was an issue going on in McCurtain County, Oklahoma, right? Where there's a newspaper reporter, and he is a reporter for a newspaper called the McCurtain Gazette. And unlike some of these fly-by-night joints that we have down here masquerading as newspapers, they are a real newspaper. And they have been doing a series of exposés about the McCurtain County Sheriff's Office. They were doing some investigations. In fact, they had done like an 8-part piece on the corruption in the sheriff's office, how people were taking kickbacks and people were doing all kind of stuff. People were supposed to be arrested. They wasn't arrested. Just a whole bunch of shenanigans going on in the sheriff's office. Now, mind you, I believe that this is coming into an election year. So the reporter, who happens to be white, had gone to a meeting of the county commissioners, and I guess that's kind of like their police jury or commission, like we have police jury, cattle commission. And so when he left the meeting, he left his phone, and he left his phone recording. And while his phone was recording, the sheriff, one of the county commissioners, a sheriff investigator, and someone that worked for the jail administration started talking really reckless. You know how you talk reckless when you think there's nobody in the room but you? They talked about how much trouble this guy was making, and how they wanted to hire some hitmen from Louisiana, he said, because Louisiana's all the mob, hire some hitmen from Louisiana to go kill him, to put him in a hole, and how bad would it be if somebody touched his wife, and blah, 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 blah. Then...
See, Calvin, you need to stop. You
hey, man, it's about to get good. Hear the good part.
Can't believe this.
Then he started talking about, well, if some of them Negroes want to run for sheriff. And he said, why not just one? Let 20 of them run. Kind of like we about to mess up with the city marshal, but that's a whole nother story. And he said,
see, Calvin, you ain't nothing but trouble, man.
Yes. And so he says, well, back in my day, we'd have just strung them up.
Strung them up well.
Under the tree. We'd have hung them. And they said it. And one of the other guys said, man, and if we couldn't hang them, we just beat them and threw them in the jail. But we can't do that no more. Yeah, they got more rights than us. I wish we'd find that hole we used to have and do. I mean, listen, they fantasized about killing black people, hanging black people, lynching black people in 2023, and it was caught on tape.
And I just got one question.
Go ahead.
Do you think that's the only place
no
that conversation is being had?
No. No, absolutely not.
But I'm laughing, but it's not funny.
It's not funny.
I'm being facetious.
Of course. But the fact of the matter is the conversation was recorded for posterity. And so it got played. And in McCurtain County, they started marching, both black and white. Apparently, the mayor of the town, I want to say it's Ida or something like that in Oklahoma, whatever the county seat is, they have a black mayor, and he was like, we want them to resign. They want the sheriff to resign. They want the county commissioner to resign. The governor of Oklahoma, who is a Republican, came out and said he thought that they should resign. Well, apparently it appears that the county commissioner, whose name I believe is Mark Jennings, did step down, but the sheriff hasn't. And the sheriff investigator and the jail administrator have not stepped down. But it's just interesting that, you know, at the time we're living, you've got elected officials that supposed to represent everybody and protect everyone's rights are having a open conversation about killing people. I mean, hiring hitmen and lynching black folks, and wasn't messed up about it. Let it roll off their tongue. Talked about how they did it, where they would do it, in the whole 9 yards. Man, it's
a little ignorant about it.
Yeah,
you know, a little indignant.
Yeah,
about, like how dare y'all?
Yeah,
I think they're a little defiant, saying that it was recorded.
Yeah,
legally. You know, is this you on this?
Hey man,
who cares? I got to record.
Hey,
is this you?
Right.
That's all I want to know.
Hey,
is this you?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, I mean, the recording, you know, as clear as a bell. It was like they were talking into a microphone. So he must have, I don't know where he put the phone, if he put it under their seat or whatever, but I mean, it was clear. It's not one of those, no. They're talking as clearly as we're speaking. And so
say, I ain't trying to hear all that rigmarole.
That's right.
Is this you?
Is this you? Is this you?
On this deal.
Yeah. So, you know, McCurtain County, y'all need to watch y'all folks. And it's interesting that, you know, you play these, well, I do. A lot of folks play these games on the phone. And one of the things that advertisers are doing now is, you know, sending these little commercials in the games. Mm-hmm. And one of the games that I play on my phone, the Domino's game, they running ads for McCurtain County, Oklahoma. I bet they're gonna stop them ads now. Wow. Yeah. So that's what's going on in McCurtain County. So if you got some relatives up there in McCurtain County, Oklahoma, you need to tell your folks to stand strong, because they have some real racist folks that are in position of authority, which is not to say we don't have racist people in authority here, but they just got caught on tape.
Well,
so,
I mean, but
there it is.
Like I said, my position is, you know, when you're wrong,
right?
And for them to try to play this game, like, well, you know, we really don't know where the taping came from. But man, are you wrong?
Right.
And do like the guy did on the county board. Go on, leave, dog.
Right. The gig is up.
Right. And Moneybag Joe, come on down.
Right.
Send Mary Garland on in.
Yeah.
Because we really need
sources and uses, baby.
We need to look at this.
Pattern and practice.
Patterns and practice.
Yep.
And if you're not, whatever safe grants or whatever we.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Stop. I need to put a stop check on that.
Right.
That money that you're sending down here.
I love it. You cannot have it and be out here talking just reckless like that.
Yeah.
Can't have it.
No.
Not on my watch.
No. I mean, and think about it. When you've got the chief law enforcement officer for your area speaking in that fashion, it's not hard to believe that he or she isn't policing in that fashion.
Right.
That he's making every time he opens his mouth, he's making policy. You know, the deputies can talk smack. He's making policy. He's setting the table for this is how we're gonna do stuff. So you're right. They need to run the Department of Justice down there and look at their pattern of practice, who get arrested and who not, especially if you bragging about beating folks, black folks, and throwing them in the jail.
And eating barbecue.
Man. That's crazy.
That's just it baffles me that people feel like, you know, we're still living in a day and time where they were just taking people out on the firing squad.
Right.
That just baffles me.
Well, but think about this, and you mentioned this yesterday. The Louisiana Grand Old Party doesn't want us talking about the history of that. Yeah, they don't want to talk about that. They want pretend like that never happened. So
like it never, right. Just
whitewashing, literally.
Lord, the times we are living in.
Well, here's something else that I saw that I'm watching closely on the intersection of criminal justice and race relations, there was an incident in Kansas City, Missouri, where a 16-year-old young man was shot by an 85-year-old man when all the 16-year-old did was knock on his door. He was looking for some friends. He was at the wrong address. He knocked on the door. The 85-year-old opened the door and shot him twice, once in the head and once in the body. Thank God the young man seems to have recovered somewhat. That's no problem. Seem to have recovered somewhat. He's still gonna have years of trauma, but it appears that some of his injuries are not as life-threatening as they were. I saw a picture with him and his legal counsel, but I mean, just look at what's been going on the last month. This young man was shot for knocking on the door. There was a young lady who was shot. She was looking for a friend's house. She drove into somebody's driveway, and before she could turn around and figure out this wasn't him, the gentleman who owns the house stepped outside with a rifle and shot her, killed her. Wow. Somewhere in Austin, I think, two young ladies were coming from the grocery store, and they went to the wrong car. Now, how many of us have gone to a big parking lot at a Walmart on the phone, forget where we park, you see a car that you think is yours and walk up to it, or you use your clicker and it doesn't work, like, why my clicker's not working? Because it's the wrong car. Oh, it looks just like my car. My car is black. This is a black, same model. Right. They went to open the door and the guy shot him. They're in cheerleaders outfits. Shoots both of these young ladies. I saw where somebody, 6-year-old and her parents, they were playing basketball in the street. The ball bounced in somebody's yard. The person whose yard it bounced in started shooting. Wow. She shot in the face. The 6-year-old shot in the face. Family member shot. Let me tell you where all of this comes from, in my humble opinion. What? When the Koch brothers, over a decade ago, started pushing this stand your ground law that changed the definition of self-defense, that changed the normal castle laws that we have had for years and years. They decided that you should be able to take your castle with you. And so that's what was the original sin with the Trayvon Martin case, we remember. But it's the Koch brothers, those billionaires in, where are they from, Indiana, somewhere like that, that made all that money, that give money to these American, what's the ALEC? I know what that's an organization, that they make these model laws and they just pass them from state to state. And they did that foolishness. And so now you've got people walking around saying, oh, I was in fear for my life, shoot. I was in fear for my life and shoot. Dude, you shot a 16-year-old unarmed kid for knocking at your door, not trying to kick the door in. He rang the doorbell. You open it and your response was bang, bang. That was your response. Young lady in a driveway, in a car. She lost. You step out with your rifle. Bang, bang. She's dead. A basketball in your yard. Bang, bang. Cheerleaders in cheerleading outfit. Ain't nobody scared of nobody in no cheerleader. These are high school girls. Bang, bang. So, you know, this stand your ground law was a bad deal. It's a cancer that has spread across our country. And this incessant thing that we have, obsession with guns and gun culture. Yeah. I mean, at some point, we're going to have to rein that in. I'll continue to say, I know what the Second Amendment says, but I will tell you that there is no right in the Constitution that is absolute. No amendment, no right that is given in the Bill of Rights that is absolute. Your rights stop where my rights start. And this idea that you could just keep guns and shoot people incessantly, as a country, we're gonna have to deal with this because it is gone above and beyond. It's gone above and beyond.
No,
What are
I'm
your
with
thoughts
you.
about that?
No, I'm with you, and I just think I hope we can come to some type of middle ground on it, and I'll just leave it at that.
Okay,
For sake of later.
Gotcha.
Later endeavors.
Gotcha. So look, we're gonna take a real quick break and come back. You're listening to Issues That Matter. I'm Calvin Lester. That's Stephen Jackson, and you're listening to WKSH. We play what we want to play and say what we want to say. I gotta rush to that.
I just had to kind of.
Issues That Matter with Calvin Lester and Stephen Jackson on WKSH 97.7 The Heat.
And we are back. We want to thank you for joining us today, Calvin. It's been a good show. Good information, brother.
Yes.
I really had not unpacked all that stuff about McCurtain County, but tell me just what do you, and what does it say about where we are and what we're doing? And before you do that, I do want to put out a reminder that early voting is going on. So please remember to go early vote. We've set up 2 locations for you to be able to go early vote. One is at the Hamilton South Library in Southern Hills. The other is you can go downtown on Marshall Street and vote at the downtown location. But please go early vote. This is not an endorsement from 97.7, but I am voting for James Jefferson. I don't know about y'all, but I plan to vote for James Jefferson for City Marshal.
So on that note,
I did vote for James.
I'm about to say,
I went yesterday with you.
Yes,
I voted for James
yesterday,
Jefferson.
I voted for James Jefferson,
You did.
and I was excited to vote for James Jefferson.
Yes.
He is a quality individual who has been a tireless public servant in the marshal's office for almost 20-some years. He has been a faithful member of the community. He is the type of person that always goes out of his way to help people. He is carrying on the tradition that Marshal Charlie Caldwell started. Things like the amnesty day, those things that they give people a chance to pay their bill without having to get beat up about it. And he's just a good quality public servant. He's not a politician. He's a public servant that is going for an elective office. And I just think that we would be doing ourselves and our community a tremendous disservice by not keeping someone in that office who has been upholding what the city marshal's office is about, as opposed to someone who saw an opportunity to run for another position because they need some bread. I said it. So
There you have it.
So, but let's go back to McCurtain County.
Yes.
What does it say? And again, law enforcement, because a city marshal is the equivalent of a sheriff.
He is.
Okay.
And the city marshal is the sheriff of Shreveport. I can't remember what our ward is,
I
but
think it's Ward 2, I think.
something
or
like
Ward
that.
6 maybe.
But the city marshal serves papers, does a number of those things, can arrest people, can run traffic, can support the police department. But as it relates to McCurtain County, I'm gonna say this and get off of it. It's important for us to have public officials, law enforcement folks that have a heart for the community. You can do your job, you can be aggressive about doing your job, but you always remember that you are a public servant. And if you cannot serve the public, you cannot serve a public that you have animosity with. Right. And when you have animosity with the people you're going to serve, it's going to come out in negative ways. And so that's what's going on in McCurtain County, and that's happening in places around the country. So we need to get better policing. I'm going to take a moment of personal privilege before we show. Today is my sister Chandra's birthday. So Chandra Denise Lester, happy birthday, sis. All right.
Yeah. And again, let's make sure that we get out, we exercise our right to vote. Make sure that you get out this weekend and do something that you enjoy. We got a little rain coming through, so be careful with that. But do something that makes you happy. Do something that makes your loved ones happy. But do something for you. Again, we always want to thank Johnny B for opening up this platform to us. We hope you stay safe this weekend, and we will see you next Tuesday. I have confirmed that we do have, I want to say Joshua Hollins is going to join us next Tuesday. Great. So we will see you next Tuesday, if, as my mama and my big mama would say, if it is the Lord's will and the creek don't rise. We'll see you on next week. Have a good weekend.
Take care.
Issues That Matter with Calvin Lester and Stephen Jackson on WKSH 97.7 The Heat.